It's nothing, that's a saving. In a house on fire, could you stay a while?
Thank you for downloading much anticipated day late episode of Three Different Dads. If you're new to the show, I'm sorry, but I am Lorenzo. Jimmy is here, and so
Hey,
is
don't
Tyler.
apologize. Don't apologize. It makes us look
It
weak.
was your fault.
It makes us
We
look
had busy schedules, so this is the best we could do.
yeah. So thanks, guys. It's nice seeing you. We're all back together. Tyler was on vacation in that most magical place in the world.
It was so magical.
It was very magical, and I was watching your pictures in Disney World, and I told Andrew, I was like, all right, I think I have the next time we're going, because we had I think we can't go until like Christmas 2024. But now we know, so it's on the books. Yeah,
You're welcome. You're welcome.
thank you.
I'm always super motivated when I'm down there to like rebook, like immediately, like want to rebook like another trip down there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's why they have like on cruise ships, like you can rebook your vacation while you're on the cruise. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, let's be honest. That's why they have like DVC, like Disney, like their timeshare thing. They have those things anywhere you can like walk. So because like everybody's in like this is so great, this is so much fun, and then they're selling their timeshares whenever they can. So, oh yeah,
Was it
fun,
super
though.
hot?
It was, yeah, it was hot. I mean, it was like 90, 92, 93, 94.
That's pretty hot.
I think every day, pretty hot. But what was nice was most of the days it did rain at some point and it cooled it down. And it was like a quick, like Florida. I mean, it's their wet season. So quick shower and then it was cool. So, and we were pretty fortunate with the weather because out of all the days we were down there, though, it really didn't rain. It like 2 or 3 days looked like it was going to rain, and it clearly was raining in other areas, but it just then cooled down, but it never actually rained where we were. So we definitely lucked out. We didn't have a bad weather day, which was nice.
How much walking did you do? Like on an average day?
Like my feet were just killing
10
me,
miles,
which I mean, so
5 miles, like
you guys know I have a desk job. So recently I was like, dude, I'm not doing myself any favors. So I actually bought a stand-up desk. So I'm now operating off of a stand-up desk. I am sitting down for the podcast, however, because I thought it would be like, I already found myself like moving more, like, when I'm standing throughout the day, which is great. But to answer your question,
good.
Jim, yeah, it was like, dude, I walked so
Don't you have
much.
steps on your phone or your watch or anything? I always feel like that's one thing people look at when they go on vacations, like especially like Disney World.
I wore my watch one day and then like I was sick of like wearing it for whatever, because like I also had the Magic Band and I was like, like too much going on here. So
sure.
Well, no, it feels like
is Jim giving me shit? What's going on?
No, he was agreeing with you.
I read somewhere that the average is 10 miles a day, and I'm like, that's a shitload of walking.
It seems excessive.
It's legit.
It seems like too much. It's 10 miles.
So I was telling I was like, I'm gonna just have to like walk because we're going into
definitely
December.
need. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest though, like there's so many lazy people there. There's people now, Jim, that like, not to say you want to do this, but you could rent a cart thing and just drive your fat ass around Disney.
No,
not to say any of us are fat, but it's true. No. I'm not calling us fat.
The royal we.
The people that do it. Because I saw people my age that were probably a little bit like bigger than me. I wouldn't say we're like obese, but I'm like, why are you on this? And they had no visible ailments. Like I didn't see a broken leg, nothing. I honestly think they just got them so they wouldn't have to walk around Disney, because there's no, like, they don't check anything. So you could just get a cart and roll your ass around Disney all day.
I'll tell you what,
that sounds terrible though.
It does sound terrible. I'll tell you what, when I was
things are fast though. You can run down a lot of people.
When I was like 10, my parents took our whole family to Disney World, and my grandma was in a wheelchair, like just because she was older. So we push her around in a wheelchair. She'd get in line with us to do rides, and we could go immediately to the front of the line with the wheelchair and ride the rides. And then my grandma we would say, Grandma, let's do this ride. She'd get in line, and then we get all the way up to the front of the line, and she goes, I don't think I want to do it. And then it would still let us go on the ride. So we are like, oh, there's a loophole, Grandma. Just say you don't want to do any of this stuff, and we'll still get to go.
Boom. That's what you do.
Yeah, yeah.
Jim, the day I wore it, it said I was 231% of goal. It said, oh, I walked 18,000 steps, so 8.34 miles that day.
All right, so Jim, that's
So
legit 10 miles. Yeah.
Yeah. And I stood 15 out of 12 hours of my goal hours was 12, and I stood 50. It's like, that's a thing. It's like you just, it takes it out of you. They're long ass days. Because it's like the park opens at, I don't know, 8:30, 9 o'clock every day, no matter where you go.
Here's what we learned, and I don't know, Jim. I don't know if the first time we went, it was like we're there at when it opens, and we're leaving when the fireworks going off. The second time we went, we were there when it opened, and we were coming back at like 6 every night because like we hit the rides we wanted to hit, we ate where we wanted to eat, and then we were able to come back, relax for a couple hours. The kids could go swimming at the hotel. We could eat if we want to eat dinner at where we stayed. We could eat dinner there. But if it's your first time, like I feel like there's more. You're
gonna be in go mode.
Yeah, there's more like we're gonna do all this. I mean, maybe not you because you don't love it as much as other people, but like you're there with everyone else. You know,
he might love it. It is the most magical place on earth.
We're going to be there for 4 days. And
Four?
we were going to, we were going to do parks for 3 of those. That just got changed to 4 out of 4.
Yeah.
We're going to do.
Well, there's 4 parks too.
I know, but we're going to do Kingdom for 2.
Okay.
And then Epcot, and then Animal.
Okay. Solid.
Is the plan. And then the one, I think we're going to do Kingdom 2 days because one day the goal isn't to be there until close, but the next day it's like their Christmas thing.
Oh, the Christmas party.
Yeah.
That's actually a good setup if you're doing the Christmas party, because you can get in there at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you can be there till 10. So not to say like you have to be there all day again. You could like what Lorenzo's saying, you could take like the morning and afternoon off and then walk into the park at 4. That would be ideal.
Yeah, because we were looking at that and I just don't think anybody took into account too. Like it's not going to be like swimming weather.
Yeah.
More than likely.
Not unless the pool's heated or whatever.
And so it's like the place we're staying, it's awesome, but it had like their big thing is like they have an awesome like pool and like some other stuff too. But it's like
dude, when we went in the last Christmas we went, it was like 85. Like we wanted to wear hoodies and stuff, and it was the whole week we were there was in the upper 80 or 80.
But like that would be perfect. I feel like that would be where it's warm. Like you can rock shorts and a shirt and then maybe throw some jeans on in the evening, whatever. But like
Olivia and I went in December last year. It was warm. We were there the first week of December and it was a 75, 80, I think. Yeah. I mean, it got cooler at night. And of course, that's when we wanted to swim. So we lucked out and the pool was heated. But yeah, I mean.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a fluid situation right now.
I'll tell you what. The podcast, the episode after you come back, like when you come back, I'm already looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Jim
my Disney
pure
thoughts.
Well, it is we were a little late with our Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to you too. We were texting. Yeah, we were texting about trying to do one. It just did not work. And Ty and I were going to do one in the morning. And then, of course, the softball tournament we were in, we had the 9 o'clock game. So that did not work. And then this is my Father's Day. So Andrea and Mateo were out of town. They were in New York visiting family. And Lil and I stayed because there's a softball tournament. And woke up Father's Day morning, went to that softball game. And then right after the softball game, Lil and I came home, relax for a little bit, and then I ended up working 6 hours on Sunday, just because the park is new and there's all kinds of things happening, and because of all these like different features and stuff we have, not everybody knows everything. So like if one of the main things go down, either me or my boss has to go in, and my boss was 3 hours away in Michigan, so I was dealing with it. But what's that? That's
his problem, not your problem.
No. The good thing, like Lillian, I like she wanted to go because she wanted us to be in the water and go on the playgrounds and like do all the stuff. So she went with me. She helped me pick up garbage, and then like at the end of the, like we had, I think we I think we picked up pizza on the way home, and I was putting her to bed. I go, "Did you have fun?" She goes, "Dad, I had the best day." And I worked 6 hours, and but she said she had a good time. So like after all that, like it was cool. It was all worth it. Like she had a
Yeah, I
really good
saw the
time. And
photos. Looked
yeah,
like she was playing on like the splash pad area or whatever. So that looked
yeah,
cool.
yeah. It was fun.
So
It was fun.
And
Yeah,
can I ask a question off of
sure.
that, your
Yes.
statement? Is there a lot of littering that happens at like a brand new park?
There's littering that happens at any park.
Well, right. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
usually when you get like a brand new car, you try to keep it clean for a while,
No.
right? Like,
No, because it's not. It's their park, but they also know there's people that work here. They'll get it.
but like, is it just blatant like, hey,
Yeah.
bags all over?
I think
There
it's
are
people. Go ahead.
no.
Sorry.
There are. We have a lot of garbage cans. People use the garbage cans, but there are also people who will. We have a restaurant at the park, and will just get up and leave all their trash just on the table and not use a garbage can. Or there are people who I see people just throw stuff on the ground. So it is like people don't care. So yeah, it is a little
You
frustrating, but
did you guys watch Mad Men?
I did not.
Okay.
I did, but yeah.
Okay. So there was an episode where like they pull over, they're driving, and they go like have a picnic in a park, just like his family, right?
Yeah.
And they get up, and it's based in like the late 50s, early 60s, I guess, during this part. And they get up and they're like, all right, good lunch. And the dude just like takes his blanket and just like whips it up in the air and just lets
Throws the
everything go
trash.
all over the
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
And then he's
Yeah.
just like, all right, let's get in the car and go. And
That's what I was gonna say is I think
that's
some people are just raised, not raised like that, but like I think some people just they don't think about littering, I guess. So I don't know.
but I guess back then, I'm not saying it's right, but they were like, okay, that's just what you do, and things will happen. But dude, your next campaign at the parks department should just be shaming people who litter and proactively reward people that like post people leaving trash all over the park and be like, don't be like this person, and just shame them and be like, we want to have nice things in Toledo. Don't be this person.
We do have signs that we are going to put out that we use to try to educate people as far as like playful words, basically saying like, "Hey, don't be a litter bug." But like we have signs like that. I don't know if we'll go as far as posting pictures of people. Like
Photo
that's
shame them and be like, tag this person if you know them.
yeah. Tag this person.
Jim straight up wants like the lady ringing the bell, shame, shame,
Yes.
shame.
No,
like,
there was
That's
oh
Game of
ridiculous.
Thrones.
we
That's
could do this new TikTok creator account that I follow. It's this, I think it's in Italy. This person I've never seen her face. It just shows her camera. She's pointing at people, and she just yells, "Pickpocket! Attention! Pickpocket!" And you see these people just scurry off. So I want to do that now, like attention, litter bugs right here.
And they'll just run away.
dude, that would I keep the park clean
Yeah,
and keep like, if they're gonna mess it up, who wants them at the park anyways?
yeah.
That's
There's a lot of stuff where we're and the frustrating part is we make it really easy for them. Like there's garbage cans everywhere. There's garbage cans where they picnic. Like there's things everywhere. It's just like, oh, I gotta walk 20 feet that way to get to my garbage can.
Let me ask you this though. With the restaurant in the park,
Yeah.
do they have the tip thing afterwards? Because people might think, hey, there's going to be a bus that comes through. Now that you tip for everything
Thing.
that happens, like maybe they're just like, oh, I don't know, I tip somebody. I'm assuming they come around and pick up the trash.
I don't know because it's run by like we don't run that. It's just there. So,
Okay,
but that is a good point. You're right. Yeah.
Counterpoint to my point.
Yeah. You got it. I got it. It's a good point.
So
But yeah, but it's we use a lot of volunteers to to help with litter pickup.
that blows my mind. I would have thought that you would have been like, no, not really. Like people throw their stuff away. Like we have a bunch of trash cans.
obviously, well, that happens way more than people litter, right? So the amount of trash that does get thrown away is, yes, it happens a lot. And obviously Monday was super busy, so there's more garbage. Today, yesterday was not as busy, so there's less garbage. Like, it obviously it's the amount of people, but people do throw their I mean, we use a lot of garbage bags, so people do it, but it does get frustrating just to see, like, the worst is when people, like, open their car door and just throw trash out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
I
like
used to
that.
be one of those people back.
Yeah,
in the day.
Jim and I both, yeah,
Really?
guilty. Hand up,
Oh
hand
my-
up. Jim and I used to do that like all
Really?
the time, but then I think we both grew up and learned our
Oh.
ways.
I was also like
what-
17 years old.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I never
we were
even
in
thought,
high school and we were just pricks. So,
I never even
yeah.
thought about that in high school. Like, I had no thought of, like, I'm just gonna throw my garbage on the floor.
Dude, if you're
man.
just driving and eating,
No,
and
it's
just
on the floor of your car, and you're just kicking it out with your feet as you're getting it in, so you can get a little foot space. Yeah.
No, I had. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I never even thought, just like, I'm gonna chuck this out the window.
But if there was a shame campaign going, I would be like, I don't want to be on the campaign.
Okay.
So
Speaking of volunteers, I would still like it on the record that when you do your first park controlled burn, I would like to volunteer to partake in said controlled burn. Thank
We
you.
don't. I think I've told you before. We don't do that at my park, though.
Damn it.
question.
Yeah.
Ohio
Those look-
question.
That would be so much fun to do that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Really would.
So speaking of burning stuff, is cottonwood really bad in Perrysburg?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Northwest Ohio?
Yep.
Okay. I saw my sister's house in Columbus, and it looked like it was just snowing in her
Mhm.
backyard. But like somebody I saw like lit it on fire
Yeah.
in their front yard, and it just like it looked awesome. But I could also see that starting major fires as well. But
100%.
I think it's cool. So
Yeah.
that's all I wanted to say.
He wanted it on the
Do
record.
you guys do that?
We do not. It does look cool. I'll tell you that. But we're also in a super drought right now, so I would suggest not doing it.
Yeah, we
currently.
probably frown upon lighting open flames outside right now because it's
Yeah.
so dry outside.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Ty, how was your Father's Day? What'd you do? What'd you get into?
What did I do?
Also,
Libby's
did you get any
still-
gifts?
I got a shirt.
Nice.
I got
All right.
a nice shirt. Yeah. So
Like a
nice
date
golf
shirt, or like a t-shirt?
It's like a Chubby's shirt. You heard of this brand, Chubby's?
I have not.
Yeah. It's super comfortable, like cotton type.
Are they like
shirt,
button
so-
downs or?
This
or a
one's
t-shirt?
just like a golf polo, so like
Oh, okay,
three
okay.
buttons at the top, but it's
All right,
nice.
all right.
Livy and I just kind of hung out for a few hours because of my vacation time with her for like, call it 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, I took her back to Lisa's house so she could hang out with Lisa. And then the next morning was Father's Day. So picked her up, went to lunch with her, hung out for a couple hours, but then she's doing that play practice right now. So
Yeah.
she got pulled away for several hours for play practice, but it was a nice Father's Day overall. It was quiet. My mom and dad are out of town, so usually we would get together on, like with my dad at least and my mom and stuff and hang out more as a family.
I saw
but
I saw a picture this morning that they're in Norway.
They're cruising.
Yeah,
They're
man.
cruising.
They're everywhere.
They're doing a Northern European cruise for like
Oh.
14 days.
No
So,
kidding.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
They're sightseeing the world right now.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Good for
But
them.
I already got the text this morning. Hey, can you check on the grass? See if there's any growth. Might need it cut. I said, okay, I'm on it tomorrow. So got that going for me.
I gotta
so-
call someone to cut mine. I think there's
With,
several kids that mow it around here.
with Father's Day, did Lisa get that gift for you?
This one actually came from Heather and Olivia. So
Got it.
I was just
I mean-
curious how that.
Transpires.
Yes.
yeah, I don't know honestly. So big development. Lisa and Heather had a coffee date. So that was
I thought you-
it-
I thought you were like, Lisa and Heather had a fight.
they had their first fight. No.
Oh, weird.
It was
So was
it
that
was a coffee
like,
date. So
was
it was like Heather extended an invitation.
I was just
a
gonna
couple
ask, was that
months-
at your request? Like, hey, you should probably do this.
No,
All right.
Heather's been super great about that. Is like she said, like obviously, having this relationship with me, obviously Livy's a huge part of it. And so
Yeah.
her and Livy, like I told you guys before, get along great. And so she put out like a invitation via Facebook to Lisa a while back and said, hey, if you ever want to sit down chit chat with, for coffee, you can get to know me a little better. I can get to know you, blah, blah, blah. So that went well, which was
Oh,
good.
nice.
So,
She's never asked me to get coffee.
She did mention recently, Jim, we should come down and visit you guys.
should.
So
There you go. Look at that.
there you go.
But
Do you
She'd
think they
probably
talk
want to
shit
get
about you?
margaritas with you, Jim. You're more of a margarita person, so she is too.
Do you think
I
they
know.
talk shit about you? Like,
do you think they talk shit about you? That's a good question, Jim.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's an A+
That's
question.
a valid question. That's
Yeah.
a valid question.
Or
Who knows?
hey, Ty does this thing. Like, did he always do it? Like, yeah, I don't know why he does that.
Yeah.
He thinks I like it.
So when is the coffee date?
It already happened. Yeah, it was like the couple days before our vacation.
Now, did she come
So-
home? Did Heather come back and you say, how'd it go? And she's like, good. And then like not say anything else about it? Or did you have any questions for her?
Not really. I mean, I
would have had so many things.
And Lorenzo and I ask her a couple questions and we'll submit them to you ahead of time. And then for the next episode, I want to hear the answers to said questions.
That's fair.
Yes.
I think we could do that.
Just
I'm
Mike,
gonna
I'm
think
curious.
about that.
That's an interesting
The questions will be screened ahead of time, but yeah,
Oh,
sure.
I think that's only fair, Jim. Good idea. Yes.
Yeah, we'll each send you just a couple questions that you can ask her, and then I'm just interested.
And I'm
to hear
asking her
what's
if these
about.
came up in said conversation.
Just
Is that
they might be just general,
just general questions? Okay.
just about the interaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. This is so good. I'm excited. Jim, I know you were pretty disappointed on your Father's Day.
Dude, Sunday came around and kids let me sleep in, had breakfast. Like I had a whole day planned. It was like, all right.
What time? Sorry to interrupt you, but what time is sleeping in for you?
I was gonna try to work out at 9 a.m.
Mhm.
And so I set an alarm at 8:30. I slept till about 9:30.
Hmm.
And my wife was just like, hey, do you want me to make breakfast now? So I was like, yeah. I was more so just like laying in bed scrolling Twitter. So
Okay. All right.
it wasn't like I was full asleep at that point, but it was definitely one of those when like the alarm went off in the morning. I was like, why? I'll just work out a little bit later. So yeah, had breakfast and then it was like, hey, I am going to then do like an 11 or noon workout for like an hour or so, and then we'll go and have a late lunch, but a big lunch. And I'm like, hell yes, like this is awesome. We're gonna go have Mexican food at this new Mexican place that we like. And that's all I wanted to do. Like that was the first thing that when my wife was asking me what I wanted to do, I was just like, I just want to have this meal and just like chill and watch golf.
I tell you what, there's nothing like looking for, maybe just because I'm a giant man, but there's nothing like looking forward to a meal that you know is going to be really good. Like,
yes.
And it could be like days in advance, like this thing is happening, and you're like, you just get excited about it, man.
Yeah, and so after breakfast, we're chilling, and my wife was like, what time do they open today? And she Googled it, and the restaurant's closed on Sundays. And
I thought when you were texting us, I thought you had driven out there and noticed, and then got there like, oh, it's closed. That'd have been worse.
I called just to make sure that Google
that the website was correct.
Well,
yeah.
it was like one of those like directions, and this is your hours. Like, are these hours correct? And they were. So So yeah, I had to pivot a little bit.
You
I
guys
don't
end
even
up eating.
remember what the hell we had.
Oh man, that sucks even more.
Yeah, just watched some golf, but then Monday we ended up getting it. So
Oh, nice.
it took a little bit, but we ended up getting it. So yeah, that was that. I got a my kids made a bunch of stuff for me.
What? Okay, we all get it. What do you do with homemade kid stuff?
Do you see that pile?
Just a pile of stuff. Yeah. For people who are just listening, he just turned his camera to just a pile of looks to be papers and construction paper and cardboard and
It's a lot of it's from like the end of the year and like, well, what do we do with this?
yeah, yeah.
So it's just it was piling up in the kitchen, and I was like, I don't want it to pile up in the kitchen, so I
Mhm.
moved it in here to let that pile up. Um,
Andrew
so
Andrea's really good at she goes through their folders and she's really good at deciding like she has a bag on our stairs that this is a keep and this is a throwaway. And but she has to be strategic about it because if Lillian sees her throw something away that she thinks she should have kept, it's a nightmare.
yeah, yeah, like they came home with these like massive poster boards that are folded in half
Mm-hmm.
to make like a big folder
Their
with
portfolio.
their art stuff in it.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Yep.
what do I do with this? And so it's great and I love it, but you can't keep
You
everything.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, well, a couple of years ago on this point, I actually got a plastic box from my mom and dad, and it was
Your
so much
shit.
shit
Yeah.
in it. It was all of like the school stuff from like, 20 plus years ago. And I was just like, oh my God, like you kept a lot of this stuff. And she's just like, yeah, I just didn't want to throw it away, but I don't really want it in the house anymore.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
My parents did that. My parents did that, and I'm sure they'll hear this. They're like, here, you can have these things. Go through them. Whatever you don't want, we'll throw away. So we probably kept like my box. I kept like 2% of what was in there, and I was like, all right, you can throw the rest away. And then they just put it back in storage. It's like, no, you did it wrong. You should have kept more stuff, and they just put it back in their basement. I'm like, it's was it throw? I don't want it. That's your
My
thing, then.
decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tell me to take what I want and then throw the rest away and then not do it.
Yeah,
It's
that's something I was actually talking to my wife this afternoon about like, hey, we need to go through this stuff and like just start purging
Mhm.
because we could keep like a thing that they did this year that they're most proud of, maybe. But we don't need a million different things. Like we have like medical records. I'm like, this is all digitized. Like there's a portal that we can go on and get all this stuff. Like, do we need to have hard copies of
shred
this?
it all. Shred it
Yeah.
all.
So I'm just like, what are we gonna do with any of this?
Mhm.
So I like to keep the Christmas ornaments and like random shit
Yeah. Yeah.
because I still put that stuff out on our tree like
Yeah.
hey, this is, and it's funny to like look back when I was like their age and the shit, this it just looks terrible, but I'm like, okay. And so they'll have the ability to do the same. So, but a lot of it, it's just, no, it's like she'll make a little note and then draw like my youngest one and then draw like, I'm like, what? She's like, here, keep this in the office. I'm like,
Got it,
I,
okay.
chief.
I'm looking, yeah, my wall literally has a note. It says, I love daddy so much. And I have it like hanging on my wall because she gave it to me and she wanted me to hang it. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, there's post-it note.
Thank
How
you.
many of those do I have around here? Quite a few. So do I need them all? Probably
Yeah.
not. So yeah, it's going to definitely be a middle of the night job to just come in and just burn it all and just go kind of go from there. But
Yeah. Just start mailing random things to people, like a package of of your kids' drawings.
That'd be a good way to do it.
Submit it to like museums.
Yeah.
Don't know if you want this. Not on loan. You can just have it.
I don't want it, but you might. You know art better than I do.
Is this good?
That's it. That's all the note says. Is this good?
Is this good? Question mark. Please hang up.
You could
Author
do the
on,
old,
artist unknown.
you could do the old school. Is this good? Yes or no. Please check one.
Yes, no, circle one. Yeah, do that.
Oh shit.
So how was your Father's Day?
I worked, man. Worked hard.
Did you get anything today?
I have not gotten. Lillian made me because on Saturday she went with my parents' house. I had to work on Saturday too, so she went to my parents' house. My mom has like an art room, like
Mhm.
it's just like there's just like art stuff all over the place. So she got this piece of cardboard and made different fruits out of other cardboard and then put glitter on them and then put some Mod Podge on top to seal the glitter in. And then now that's sitting in my truck because I haven't I haven't done anything with it. So it's just sitting in my truck getting all glittery. So yeah.
I hate glitter.
Yeah, I know. I
Glitter,
hate it too. I'll tell you
slime.
what. I tell you what, this Mod Podge stuff though, like putting a layer of something over the glitter, like it's doing a good job. Some pieces still escape, but not nearly as much as it would without this stuff.
Is that
When
like
you
a name
say
brand? I've
Mod
never heard of
Podge,
Mod Podge.
Yeah.
I
What is-
thought you were like it was like a collection of stuff. I
no,
didn't
no,
know.
no. That's hodgepodge.
I know, but I thought it was maybe like
No, no, no.
a Hispanic twist on hodgepodge.
That's good. No, nope. Mod Podge is it's a type of like glue, I guess. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
all right. All right. All right.
I learned something new. I just rolled with it. I was just like, oh, whatever. Okay.
That's good. That's good. I like it.
So
Oh man. Dude, have you guys been following this story about the submarine going to see the Titanic and not coming back?
Yes.
yes.
It's first of all, I didn't even know like people could make things that could go down to the Titanic, see the Titanic, or like whenever people are like, "Hey, we're gonna go see the Titanic," it's always like in my mind, I'm like, "Well, you're like the first person who's ever seen it." Like it just doesn't seem like a thing that people.
I did not know that they like this has become a business to go see it. I did not know that. So like 250,000 a head to go down and see the Titanic.
And die now apparently.
And well, yeah,
It's
clearly
crazy.
like they're not gonna. I was saying to some of my coworkers and to Heather today too, but I was like, this would be like the greatest rescue in like the history of man if they were actually able to like rescue these people. Like, because I was telling some other people, I was like, if you ever like look how far down Titanic is,
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
it's pretty far.
And right now
so-
they can't even send anybody down there to like get them.
No.
The only thing they can send
No.
down there is
Which
cameras.
is crazy.
Yeah.
That
Well, I
that
mean-
would be like
Not
it
so
would
much
be
like I don't know. So,
the crazy thing is that like the what would you even call this? The submersible.
The Titan.
It was like highly like not good.
dude, it's
It was
almost like,
it was really hodgepodge.
It was a hodgepodge, yes, because like I saw that
but
thing
definitely
yesterday.
Mod Podge and stuff.
Hodgepodge. That's the right word. Yeah. Hodgepodge. But the dude was using an Xbox controller or a Logitech controller to steer the damn thing. And I'm sorry, I already saw a funny meme come out today where somebody, you probably saw it, but it had the sub thing looking, and then it had like the little Xbox, your controller's disconnected. And I was like, oh, too soon. Too soon.
I saw a meme today where there's a guy he has a disgruntled look on his face and his arms are on his hips, and it's like the look when you realize that the $250,000 was not a round trip.
The one I saw was it was from inside the boat
Oh.
or submarine, and they're like looking out of the window, and it's like thinking you're going to go see the Titanic, but it's Kobe Bryant playing, and it was like a Lakers court, and it's like
I saw the same. I saw.
God, the
I saw.
internet is just ruthless.
I saw on
So
TikTok was
bad.
the same thing where it's like, this guy's like, he's like looking around like, what's going on? What's going on? And the captain's like, when you go to see the Titanic and end up at a Lakers game, like, what's going on here? Brutal.
Oh,
People are
It's
brutal.
undefeated.
it is
Dude,
brutal.
It's crazy to me too, like that. Like if you're going down there, because the hole is like the size of the laptop screen, right? Like it's not a huge hole window that you can see this stuff. So you're only going down there just to be like, I saw the Titanic in person.
Yeah.
Like I actually went down there to see it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's like you're only doing it because it's a flex. And these are
Correct.
super
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do things.
I mean, I saw the movie Titanic. That's good for me. So
I've never seen Titanic. That's like my claim of never
that is
have I ever.
that's braggable too. That is probably more braggable.
I already knew what happened. And
Okay.
I'm just
Spoiler alert: the ship goes down.
The damn thing hits an iceberg.
No, I forget what I was listening to, but they were talking about the two options for death for these people, and the first option was running out of oxygen. They're like, yeah, it's a lot like just kind of going to sleep and then just never waking up. But then the other guy was saying something about, well, if said submersible like lost pressure, their bodies would instantly be liquefied.
Well, they would.
So
Yeah, if anything, like if there's a hole, got anything out of it, they would immediately implode. So
yes. So
seems pretty.
which way
instant.
would you rather die? Would you rather have the instant liquefaction or your body implode, or would you go to sleep with no oxygen?
no,
No,
because
'cause I feel-
that whole time without the oxygen, like like, okay, well this sucks. I'm down here with
Yeah,
people I don't know who the hell they are. Like I'm sure
I
they're
would go with
the captain or whatever. Like what the hell?
I would go with the
Like
loss
I'm
of
gonna
pressure
sue
too.
you. I bet like threats were made to the captain, like all-time record with these guys. But
for me, the scariest thing is that they bolt you in from the outside. It's like,
Yeah,
even if they made it to the top with, they had like a bunch of ways to like get up if stuff failed, and even if you made it to the top, like you can't even get out. You're bolted out. You're bolted in from the outside.
yeah. So to your point, like they could just be on the surface, no one sees them, they still run out of oxygen and die. Yeah,
Yeah.
not a good way to die.
that part still, like with the amount of satellites that we have up in the sky, I know it's a large surface area, but like you'd think you'd be able to be like, hey, this perimeter of 20 miles.
They never found that plane. We talked about it several episodes ago. That
I know, but
documentary,
that just
the plane.
just minds
I know, but it blows your mind. Yeah, but that
There-
gives you an indication of how big the surface of water is, or water on the surface of the Earth is. Yes.
Also, they were
It's a
connected to
big area.
Starlink, but they have to be at the surface to connect to Starlink. Like they can't do it underwater. So troubled times, troubled waters.
Not good.
First, to be honest, like when you first brought up this topic, I thought for sure you were going to have a dad joke.
No,
I thought I was ready for it too. I was like, he's gonna sprinkle this in somewhere.
no,
Get that punchline.
nope.
It's good timing. Let's look up dad joke submarines.
I did see some good ones, but there's nothing really I liked. So there was a lot of I specifically Googled Titanic ones, but there wasn't a lot that impressed me. That ship has sailed. This makes good podcast. Everyone's just googling.
A friend started a submarine building company. Unfortunately, it went under.
Boo.
That wasn't a good one. I don't like that one.
That's not terrible.
What color are submarines? Deep navy.
Somebody on Reddit on r/dad jokes wrote, "Can I still impress you with a joke about the Titanic, or has that ship sailed?" And then all the comments like, "No, let that sink in. You sound all jacked up. That just means we're all synced up. Never let go of this grudge. Gonna have to put that joke on ice for now."
Good stuff.
All right. Um. So, I was texting with you guys. First of all, Jim.
Smooth transition.
No, listen. The shirt of Dave
Oh
Matthews.
yes.
Yeah, dude.
Sorry, that was the other Father's Day gift that came in yesterday. But my wife got me a Hawaiian shirt with Dave Matthews' face all over it, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's I'm very excited.
Have you worn it yet?
I wore it last night.
Did you? Are you a Hawaiian shirt guy?
He
Trying
is
to
now.
You're
He
trying to
is
be?
now.
trying to be. I did get a bunch of shirts when I went on the cruise that are Hawaiian-esque, uh, like short sleeve button down shirts.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Maybe we should make a three dads pod Hawaiian shirt. Get
speaking, dude, we could have gained so many like listeners. You were on TV to bring it back to the park. I watched the like 4 minute segment that they do on WF or not W, whatever it is, 13
yeah,
ABC.
channel 13. Yep.
Yep. And I'm waiting. I see Lorenzo's big, beautiful face. I'm like, okay, he's going to drop the pod somewhere in here, maybe, or even just like podcast, park slash podcast or something. Not a word, not a
So
mention.
can I tell you? I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't mention any podcasting, but I talked probably for a good 7 minutes, 7 to 8 minutes, and I was probably on there for maybe 15 seconds. So,
Yep.
you know what I will do? Because I told our person who does sets up these things, I said, "Hey, I'll do it again if you guys need someone." You know, you're really good at it. I said, "Yeah, let me know. You know, I'll do whatever."
Yeah,
So
got a
so
podcast. Got multiple.
so
I've got my own network.
so um next time I will not necessarily drop the dad's podcast, but I will see if I can get like something saying like three different dads or something in there, an Easter egg.
Yeah,
Yes.
work it. Yeah, work
Yeah,
it in.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come up with a word that you have to say that it's like you're thinking of. Like I'll work this in my main point.
What I
That's a shout out to the listeners.
what I should have said was, yeah, it's like, yeah, you know, we're over here at this new parking lot. I saw three different dads just standing up there watching.
Watching their kids play, talking, we're growing the community here. Maybe next time there'll be four dads on there. I don't know. It's
You know
good
what?
to see people meet.
There
You're
were
right.
these three different
You know,
dads. I think they were filming a podcast. Yeah, they're just out in the park though.
you're right though. I could have gained probably could have gained us a few listeners, but we already have great listeners, and one listener being your mother. She is a loyal listener. Thank you, thank you. um, we had texted about this a few times, and I did have a conversation with your mom too. I called her on the phone. Um, I I'll really let Jim talk about it. Obviously, Jim, it's your mom. I want you to talk about it. But Jim, she has moved in with you. She's sick. She did, and just so everyone knows, she did. Her and your sister, you asked them like, "Hey, can we talk about that her on the podcast?" And they did give us the green light. So it isn't like I can't believe they're
No
talking about it.
violations here.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I do want to give it because you know, Jim, you had text like, "Hey, you know, I think it's important to talk about because it is affecting like because you asked me questions like, hey, how did you talk to your kids about when you know about your brother and your grandma, like, you know, because I think it's an important thing. But go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, so kind of to back up a little bit ago, like in December, well, actually Christmas Eve, right? So I get a call from my mother and we think she's having a stroke. And so she's like stuttering and slurring her speech and all this craziness is going on. I go over to her house and take her to the hospital and nope, just her white blood cell count was low and causes these issues. And so I started talking to her about it, like what's going on, all this type of stuff. And then she's like, yeah, I've got this little issue. Like we're trying to do a bunch of stuff to keep my white blood cell up. And it's like, okay. And then they did a blood transfusion or blood, yeah. And then we were like, okay, she's kind of back to herself. She's out gardening, she's out doing all this stuff.
And does
And
she live? Is she by herself?
she was with her boyfriend,
Okay, all right.
Dave. So um they were there, and so he travels a lot for work. So he wasn't there,
Hmm.
and he was back up in Canada right before Christmas on Christmas Eve. And then another time he was out of town, same thing happened where it's like, holy crap, like there's just something's
Yeah.
going, like there's something weird going on here. And then in March, she got admitted to the hospital, and she was there for about 3 weeks with a major infection.
Hmm.
And so I had spoken to Sparks, our friend, because after the first or second time, like, hey, it's weird. Like, my mom wasn't like the peak of fitness, but she
Hmm.
moved around. Like, nothing weird was, thinking like, okay, this isn't great. But it was really the first time that went to multiple doctor's appointments with her and kind of got an insight to what's going on health wise. And it's weird because you go see all these different specialists as you get older. You don't just go see like your, primary care person. You go see these different people, and they all kind of pass things off. And it's like, it's not this, go see this person. It's not this, go see this person. So Sparks really helped me out a lot in terms of like, hey, this is everything that's going on. Like,
Hmm.
what does this mean? Because no one wants to give you any type of answers to what's actually going on. And so I found out she had something called MDS, which is pre-leukemia. And so your body just stops making white and red blood cells essentially, or it slows it down. And once it gets to full leukemia, then your body, I guess this is what was kind of explained. I'm not a doctor, but like it starts to, your body starts producing things that start like taking out your white and red blood cells. So that's where it can get really, really bad. So, but so she had a difficult time with these blood cells. And that's really when she went to the hospital in March, once we really understood like what the hell is actually going on. And she was there for 2.5, 3 weeks. Um, that's when they were like the, and we didn't even hear this from her primary doctor or her oncologist, but from just the doctor at the um, hospital was like, the only thing that's going to treat this would be a bone marrow transplant.
Hmm.
Like that's it. That's the only thing that can reverse this and go. And so bone marrow transplants, I knew nothing about except that it was painful. But then like you go through like 3 months of radiation. They want to kill everything in your body. They put in the bone marrow transplant, even if there's, I guess, 10 different factors that they look at, even if
Hmm.
you have 9 out of 10, there's still a likelihood that your body could just reject it and then you'll die pretty close to after that. There's a high probability, like that's a probably like a major possibility with this. And
Hmm.
so we went through all these different steps. We went to go see somebody in Dallas who was a highly rated person in bone marrow stuff. And he went through, we ran some tests, we went back, and he's like, there's nothing that can be done with the bone marrow stuff. And so
And
yeah,
when you hear that part, like, because obviously I don't think it's in anybody's mind, even obviously your mom, your sister, maybe even your wife, like, what do you mean? Like, they're that's not an answer. I feel like, right? That's not like, okay, there has to be something here.
yeah. And then, I mean, you do a bunch of like research on your own, right? Like you become a Google doctor and like
Yeah.
try to be like, okay, like what else is there? Like, is there anything else? Like you're talking to people, you're looking at things. But when it gets to the stage that she's at, like that's, cancer's a bitch. Like there's only
Mhm.
certain things that will treat it. And for her and this exact thing, it's a bone marrow transplant. And so when we're told like that won't do it, um, that was the first time. My mom has been very optimistic on everything, right?
Mhm.
And so that was the first time that she like started taking this. I wouldn't say taking it seriously, but like, oh, like this is real. This is, what's gonna do me in a sense. Like this is
Mhm.
what's happening with my body. There's nothing else that can be done because she wouldn't even allow herself to have a lot of the conversations until we knew for sure with the bone marrow. Because it was always like, hey, well, it'll work out. That like we'll figure it out type of a thing. Um, which is difficult as a child because I'm very much like, I want to know what's going on. Okay, if this doesn't happen, like what do we do? What's the time frame look like?
Mhm.
We're in Texas, her daughter's in Ohio. How often? Like, do we need to get people here right away to see her? Like what's life like after this, right? And so the part that's disappointing with our medical experience that we've dealt with is no one really wanted to step up and be like, here's, it's shitty news,
Mhm.
but here's the shitty news and this is what's going on. And so um so yeah, that was a real big thing, that we were doing. She was on some medication. Recently there was another trial, but the trial was not even to do um to help generate new blood cells. It was just to try to help with only red blood cells so she'd at least have more energy to do stuff, but
Mhm.
still keeps it very much like her white blood, like she's very susceptible to major infections, diseases, like all those different things. The one that took her in the hospital for a few weeks, that was something the doctor said that if any of us were to get it, we wouldn't even have been sick.
Oh
And
wow.
it um, really did a number on her on that. And what's crazy is the bone marrow guy said, like, if she had not gotten that disease beforehand, then she would have been a better candidate. Not saying that she would have been able to, but a better candidate to do a bone marrow transplant. But that really, that really kicked her butt. And um, so yeah, after that all happened, we met with the doctor. Like, okay, there's not really anything else that we can do. Um, my mom's boyfriend and her had a agreement beforehand where his wife had passed away from cancer before and he was like the primary caregiver through that entire thing, and he said it was like a couple years of caregiving that he had to do. And
Yeah.
they were both very upfront at the beginning, like, hey, if either of us get bad, like we're just gonna cut at that point and you know it's over at that time. So
Yeah.
um there are some things that happened between that point and how Dave handled some stuff, but that I wasn't a huge fan
Sure.
of.
That's your mom, and
Right.
regardless of any arrangement they made, like you're still going to look at it. I mean, you can even be mad at your mom, like, mom, why'd you do this? Or, and in this case, Dave, why, XYZ, you could have done this kind of stuff, but that's totally
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah. Real quick after that, we were fortunate that my when we had purchased our house before we had purchased it, it had a mother-in-law suite with the intention of my mom moving down to Texas at that time. And so
Mhm.
we never changed really the apartment. So she had an apartment that that she can be in. And so we got her all moved in and settled. And one of her, it's kind of crazy, her neighbor growing up and friend from high school is a retired hospice nurse.
Mm.
And so she came down to help my mom with the move and to see her and do all this stuff. And she's just like, hey, like you should start to look at hospice now. Like,
Mhm.
well, I didn't really know much about hospice or what it entailed or anything else. And so kind of educated myself on that. But essentially starting Monday, Julie is in hospice care at our house. And
Yeah.
so all that means is she's just not it's like when there's no more um nothing else medically that you can do to try to like beat the disease, right? So it's
All
just
it
like
is comfort, more or less.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just trying to make there's and that's where she's at now. It's like there's nothing that she can do. And so it's she just been like, hey, what do you want to do? Like, so that was at the end of May, and she's gone hot air balloon. She went on a hot air balloon ride a couple of weeks ago. She went to Ohio to see my sister and her
Mhm.
grandkids there. Went to Perrysburg for a few days with my aunt. Got to see everybody like one last time, and so, um, but it's weird because she'll put on a big, and this is the other thing. It's just like parents like don't want their kids to like like bothersome. I feel like, and my mom's bad about this, and I'm like, you just need to tell me the truth of what's going on. Um, is she'll just be like, I'm doing okay. I'm doing like, yeah. And then like you'll go up and like I'll go and check on her, and then it's like she's taking a nap, like just a lot of naps, a lot of sleeping. And she's just like, I just, ended up, I had a headache. I had this, I was then I was like, just be upfront with us, right? Like, just tell us what's going on and we'll try to get things to be, as comfortable as possible for you. And so even like she came down Sunday just to play cards for like an hour with us and the kids, play some Uno. And Monday, it she was so exhausted.
Yeah.
And it's like from that, right? And I thought that was going to be a very low energy event that wouldn't do anything. So,
Well,
um,
a parents' jobs and moms more than dads, but both parents, their job, their entire life is to protect their kids.
right,
Not necessarily, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally, and she's not going to waver from that. Same as my parents wouldn't do that kind of stuff. So she's until she can't. That's what I mean. Even when I talked to her, even when I called her and chatted with her, like her main concern, Jim, her main concern was Lorenzo, you and Tyler, make sure you're there for Jim. And
right,
that was her main concern. I want you there for Jim. I want you there for Beth. Make sure you guys are there, and anything they need, you guys help them with that. And because I asked her like anything you need, anything you want me to do, and that's what she wants, and that's what she's going to continue. As frustrated as it is, and I
right.
know it
Yeah.
is, but that's their job, man.
Yeah. So it's definitely strange because like we don't like the other it's just frustrating too because like you just don't know how it could be a couple weeks, it could
Mm-hmm.
be a month, it could be 2 months, it could be 5 months. Like we don't know. The rate at which she's declining though, it's not great, right? But like it's kind of what is to be expected. But it's definitely interesting this time, like knowing somebody's going to pass
Mm-hmm.
and having like the conversations in terms of like, hey, what do you want? Like, what do you want to do with like, not, yeah, she had a will, but she had a will that was 20 some odd years old, right? Like she had this stuff, and so it's been kind of nice. And we've ever since my dad passed, like we had a pretty open conversation just about death in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, we had general ideas of what she wanted to have happen. And so just like confirming those, making sure my sister and I are on the same page with like, okay, this is going to happen, and then we're going to do this, and this is the way mom wanted things. It's been it's been very nice, because
Should be
there's
no.
other things too
Yeah.
that she thought like she had a lot of things buttoned up and she didn't. So we've been able to kind of get things to where she wants it to be. And we're fortunate from that standpoint. And it's also been good. I think it will be good for my sister and I's relationship in terms of there will never be the like, I want it this way. My sister
Yeah.
thinks that my mom wants it this other way. So like you're just crashing over that
Hmm.
conflict, where this is like we've been very just like open about stuff, and like even just asking like, hey, like, you know, does it freak you out at all about what's happening? Like, do you need to get on anxiety like meds? Like, it's
Hmm.
cool, like whatever you need, like it's a lot of shit that you're dealing with. So like what do you need? So um yeah, so there's that part, like trying to prep the kids to what's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
When
I had mentioned to you like with my grandma. My grandma lived with my mom, but she wasn't in the house, and that's I think I'm assuming your daughters, you know, if they're able to, will go up and see her every day, if as long as she's feeling good, as long as you let them. So that's
yeah.
a little difficult because because just one day she's just not going to be there.
Right. So there, like we did certain, like I have a camera in the family room so I can see what's going on. Like there are certain things that we put in place so that we can check and see. So I try to make sure, like I have everything detailed out, and I know it's all going to be completely different in my mind of what's going to happen and what actually happens. But like I have things that like, if she passes and I find like, okay, like I know exactly where the kids are going to go so that they're out of the
Hmm.
house when everybody comes. Like, I have a list of people that like a contact list, and then this, and this, and try to just be as organized as possible so that things get done in the correct order and there's no issues with anything. And so it's definitely, when my dad passed, it was like sudden,
Hmm.
and we had no idea. Like I was by like my mom was out of town too, so it's just like you're just running with it, and now everything is going to be. I'm trying to just be as organized as possible and get that all straightened and taken care of. So, um, yeah, man, it's just it's crazy because I know like end of summer, early fall, like my life's just going to be very different, right?
Hmm.
And not just if my mom's gone or not, just like the the routine that we're in now. I'd like to be in routines of what's going on, like with kids and having you have schedules and all this stuff that you're keeping. And the last few months has been just a different change in everything with her being here, which is fine. Like it's been great for us and the family, and the kids love it. And then it's just knowing like, hey, there's going to be another major shift that's going on, and these are big life moments that are going. Um, so yeah, it's definitely been kind of crazy. So yeah, dude, I, the good thing is through all of this though, it's like even like bringing it up with my in-laws too, like
Hmm.
making sure we have everything planned, ready to go, because they don't talk about anything.
Yeah.
They didn't want to bring up like death or any of these type of things, and which I get, but also it's like everybody's going to experience it, right? Like
Yeah.
so,
And you
it
make
does
it harder on your kids if stuff's not
exactly.
nailed down.
Exactly. And make
Yeah.
sure everybody's just crystal clear on what they want and
Hmm.
what's happening and is going on. Because, and that's just huge because, I've seen it, that tear apart families too, right?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
if all of a sudden it's just like, I thought this, or I thought I was getting this or that or whatever, like what? No, Like if my sister and I have questions, like we go ask my mom and she'll just tell us what we want and make sure that we're both crystal clear on. And so with what's going on. So that's been really good. So I would
Yeah.
encourage anybody to definitely have conversations with family member. Like for my in-laws, we made a Google Doc and it has here's this, here's that, here are key numbers of things like they might have a safe deposit box that you have no idea that they have. And it's like,
Mhm.
because in my mind, I'm like, how the hell are we gonna find this stuff?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do you know? Like, you just hope that randomly you get a piece of mail, like, or something that says like, hey, you're past due on this or that, or you get a lot like so
Can,
it's
can I tell you
yeah.
a quick story? My brother passed away. Gosh, it's I always feel bad because I don't remember exactly, but I think it'll be 3 years this fall. But he wasn't the best person, so like his credit or taking having loans here or this or that, there was a lot of that out there. And my mom would get phone calls say, hey, I'm looking for Crescencio, and she's like, well, he passed away. Like, oh, I'm sorry, okay, we won't bother you anymore. She got so many to the point where someone called, I'm looking for Crescencio, he's dead. And that's all that's all she said. It was like, he's dead, he died. Oh, sorry. And like they hung up the phone. But I just tell that story because I think it's so funny. But like that is a real thing, like you said. Like there is going to be letters in the mail or phone calls, and you
Yeah.
think a year from now, you think all this is over, and you can still mourn your mother. But then, like you might for a month, you might not even think about her, and then you'll get a phone call or a letter, and you're like, shit, yeah, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, speaking to a therapist about stuff, and they were like, once both your parents are gone, like you're gonna feel like you're orphaned essentially. And it's like,
Yeah,
well, all right, well, that I didn't even think of that until you mentioned it. Now, like I've been thinking of that,
It's a
like
lot. Yeah.
nonstop now. And so yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy. The biggest
mhm,
things for me is just making sure kids are good. Yeah, the hardest thing has been like when my mom does come and down and hangs out and they have like a good day with the kids. Like
mhm,
my youngest one's like, I don't want grandma to die. Like I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
like what the hell do you say? It's just like
yeah,
okay, she's 6 and just trying to get through that whole thing, and so, um,
yeah,
but yeah, man, it's crazy. It's a big thing. She will be missed by everybody. And so uh but she's still here. Like
yeah,
it's so weird too, because it's like one day, like everything's great. Next
yeah.
day it's like, what's going on. So the nice thing now with hospice, like they come to the house twice a week to check on her for
Mhm.
like her nurse does, and then um like a chaplain comes out, like came out and talked to her and stuff. So
Well, I think first of all, I think it's great that you're able to have her move in with you. I think if anything, like I know my grandma loved living at home with my mom and my dad and my sister, and then being in the same town as us, so she can see the grandkids, like or great grandkids. So I think that's great. I think it's great that you're able to do that. Obviously, um, it's a it appears to be an easy decision. Like, yes, mom, you can come live with me, but there's still a lot of like things you have to think about when this is happening, and the things you're thinking about now with like, hey, my kids are here and they're seeing all this and asking those questions or saying like, I don't want grandma to die, all that stuff like that weighs on you. But um, there's probably not anything your mom could have wanted more than to be able to be there and be
right.
able to live the rest of her life in a home that's filled with love for her.
It's weird because it's almost like having an additional kid.
Sure.
Not in like a burden way, but just like the responsibility, like in
Yeah.
the because like if we go out to eat or we go do something, like I remember the last day of school, I picked up both the kids from school, went and had lunch. I brought my mom with us, and it was like okay, like you just have like it's another thing that you're keeping an eye on,
Yeah.
or it's
Yeah.
not like they're fully independent to go do whatever it may be. So
I tell you
so
what,
yeah,
though, that's how my mom felt with my grandma. But for me, obviously, it was different because I didn't live there. But all the little things that I could do that I know my mom didn't want to happen, like to take my grandma up like 2 donuts, like here you go, grandma, eat these donuts before mom sees you, that kind of stuff, or even for you, like taking her with you, or like having her, you have this extra meal or drink this drink or whatever, like all those extra things that are just, or like you said, she went in a hot air balloon, like all that stuff.
her oncologist was like, "Why are you going to Ohio?" And I'm like, "Who gives a shit?" Like, I was so pissed at this doctor. I was like,
If she wants to do a line of
"What?
coke, I'm gonna
Yeah,
like
she can do
What's
whatever
gonna
the hell
stop
she
her?
wants."
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Holy shit, that's crazy.
I was just like, "Are you kidding?" Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was just like the worst thing. I'm like,
You're a
oh,
horrible person. Why?
yeah. And
Yeah.
so she's been in and out of the hospitals a lot the last 6 months now. And it's like,
Hmm.
she just does not want to be in the hospital. And I don't,
Hmm.
it's, you forget how shitty it is to be in the hospital until you're there and you're just like, oh, like every hour they're coming in to check, but like every, like,
Yeah.
not comfortable. It's not like,
You feel lonely.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
why I
I
think
feel
that's why I think it's so great that she can have
Yeah,
that
it's better that
there.
she's there than
Yeah.
than
so
any
so yeah,
facility.
and it's been the cool thing too, like at Grace United Methodist or whatever the hell they call themselves now. They've been sending my mom like cards,
Hmm.
which was awesome. So we've been
Hmm.
getting a shitload of cards through the mail. She's really enjoyed that. She got to go to Perrysburg. They went out to dinner with like 20 people that I haven't seen in 20 some odd years and just see
Yeah.
pictures of it and stuff. And so she got to go do that and stuff. So um she that's been really cool. So I know she's going to, when she does pass, we're going to go do the cremation thing, and then we'll have a service up in Perrysburg. So I'll be in Ohio and get a house probably for about a week or so and just kind of hang out there for a little bit. But yeah, it's now it's really just relax and just
Hmm.
enjoy yourself, and whatever happens happens, and we'll go for the downside for her. I feel bad about is it's so damn hot here right now. Like she likes to be outside,
Yeah.
and it's just like, hey,
It's
you,
the
you
worst
do
time of year to
you,
be outside. Yeah.
but you shouldn't be outside for more than like 2 or 3 minutes. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's pushing, triple digits. We don't need to be outside just sitting because she
Yeah.
likes to sit in a chair outside and read. And it's like, that sounds lovely, but
What does she like to read?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Books.
What? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. She has a Kindle and she's just
Oh,
on
okay.
that.
All right.
So who knows what the hell she's reading about.
Books.
Books.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, man, it's definitely been life a big life moment.
Yeah.
And it also sucks because like one of our friends, like Corwin's getting married in July, I want to
Hmm.
say.
Yep.
And I couldn't RSVP to his wedding. And I was just like, I don't know.
Hmm.
Like if I don't want to be a dick and not respond at all and be
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe, and I'll just show up. Like that's an asshole move. And it's like at the same time, it's like if she's still here, I left her for a day and a half to go to Houston, and it was like fortunately somebody else, like her friend, was still in town, and like she
Mm.
had people, but it was very much like I
Like you're
don't
Worried the
you.
whole time. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to put a burden on Andrea or anybody else to like be the one that has to deal with shit when it happens. So it's like, okay, so there's even as we get closer to stuff, right? Like I want to go to our 20th.
Hmm.
So but that's gonna be, who knows if she's still kicking around in August,
Yeah.
like then you know, that's a game time decision type of a thing. So yeah, man, it's crazy times, but such is life. People get
Yeah.
older, people die. So
Well, like I said, man, you're doing a great thing for her, and you know that, and but I think that's important, and just for I always want to be able to do that too for my parents. Like I don't want to put them in nursing homes, and I don't want to do all that kind of stuff. I want them to be able to live, with one of us. There's three of us now, so with one of us, that's always the best thing to do. So and she obviously appreciates it. I know she's probably told you that, and even if she doesn't, obviously I think she does. And she
yeah,
she loves being there, man. And like I said, when I had a conversation with her, it was all about you. It was all about Beth. And I don't know. I'm sure she's told you, but she told me, she's like, I'm good. I'm ready.
yeah,
I'm ready to do to her whatever happens. So, she's comfortable, and you've made it that way. And like I said, all she was worried about is you guys. So
yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's just I feel like the whole parent thing, and that's
yeah.
it's but yeah, dude, it's so there was because during this whole transition and we missed weeks of doing this here and there.
Yeah.
A lot of it was like, hey, I've got shit going. Like I'm
Yeah.
not going to be able
Yeah.
to be on here and there. So yeah, that's
It's
kind
life.
of
Yeah.
that is life.
Well, I appreciate you, telling us that. I know we know some of it, but I think it's, for the few listeners we have, they really like listening and they know us, and we say a lot of things on this podcast, and I just think that's another thing that should be shared, and could be shared as long as you guys are good with it and everyone's good with it. So I appreciate you, wanting to share that story, and your mom and your sister, also allowing us to talk about it.
Yeah. So if you see her on social or anything else, like if you send her a note, I'm sure she would greatly appreciate to hear from people. Really,
Yeah.
right now, it's like it,
Yeah.
it, it, it is funny. She's like, "Oh, I heard from this person today." It's like I don't even like them. I'm like,
Was that
Oh,
me
that's funny.
yesterday?
yeah,
Damn it.
but
Well,
no, it's yeah.
yeah. All
She
right.
she said when you left a voicemail, she's just like, "Hey, did you tell somebody that it's okay that they call me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "I." Or the other thing too is like, she's not deaf, but she can't hear for shit, and she has
Oh,
to have
okay.
hearing. And
Yeah.
if they're not in, like, she has a difficult time sometimes, just hearing people. And so she's just like, I couldn't make the name out on who called. I'm like, okay, that was Lorenzo. I was like, and she's just like, oh, that's who okay, that makes sense now. Like,
Good.
yeah.
She was screening
So
her calls. It goes right to voicemail.
yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like, thank God I'm here because she doesn't pick up her phone if she doesn't recognize the phone number. And
Uh
then all these nurses and people like
yeah.
come to the house. And so I'm just like, just call me. I will relay the message to her
Yeah.
in some fashion. So, oh man.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
well, thanks again, Jim. I again appreciate you coming on here and or being here telling us this. As always, thanks George, and thanks Julie. This
yeah.
has been Three Different Dads.
If there's nothing